So, hello, and thank you again for letting me participate in your conference. Last year was quite an honor for me. This year was also an interesting question that's being posed. I was asked if I could give a few words, maybe introduce the topic of why development doesn't work very well. Very big topic, but let me just give you three things that I think are worth further discussion, and hopefully let you guys get to that discussion. So the three things I'm going to kind of go over quickly are the first one, which is really a perspective problem, and as one colleague in Australia recently called it, cultural imperialism. Again, a very kind of aggressive phrase for the term, or for the idea, but I think what she's trying to say is that development often ignores local context, local culture, and imposes a set of outcomes that they want, not necessarily that the local community wants, a Ghanaian community may want, or a Zambian community may want. It's really about the development agency, and they're taking a Western perspective as being the more appropriate perspective at times. So that's one reason, and that I think leads them down to a series of choices about what they think they should invest in, as opposed to what the kind of the local community may want to invest in, or the local community may see as their major issues. The second one that I would add is the difference between development and welfare. So development, in my terms, or my understanding, is really how a social system changes. Takes on new characteristics, new behaviors, changes the way it values certain behaviors, changes the way it values certain kind of thinking, and certain, I guess, I would say values or morals, how they change over time, which is different than welfare. Welfare, in my understanding, is when an individual or individuals that have become kind of outliers in the system. Individuals that have lost their job, individuals that have kind of lost their confidence, if you'd say, or ran into some trouble and need some help to get back on their feet and into the mainstream. Again, that's different, and there's many very effective tactics that we use in welfare, say in the US or Canada or in the UK, that are just not appropriate when you're trying to do development in another country. And I think that most of the tools development practitioners try to use are more real welfare tools. They're really not development tools. They're not understanding behavior change over time. They're not understanding how informal rules work, and how the behavior pattern you're looking at changing requires a much more sophisticated way of looking at the problem. So they use kind of a blunt instrument when you really need a very sharp, sophisticated instrument sometimes. So the last thing that I think I'd like to raise, and then let you guys have your debate, is maybe a little bit more practical issue, but it's the way the development agents actually define the project problem in terms of practical project structures. So, you've, I'm sure, all seen it, or the ones who have been overseas have seen it. Projects of 3 to 5 years. They have a very specific set of financing and rules about what you can engage in and what you cannot engage in. The projects are often defined by specific outcomes, often numeric outcomes. How many people you need to train, how many people you need to say hello to, which, as a general rule, the time frames, the kind of rigidities on budget, the rigidities on what you can and can't do, the specific targets are all more problems and hurdles to be overcome in a development problem than really things that help you as a practitioner. So here we go. The roundup of my three things I think you should be a major part of your discussion today are whose perspective? What is development really from whose perspective? And if a development agency is going to invest in the development of another country or a community,